You've tuned in to chipsgrooveradio with your hosts, Mike and John. Mike here with John, and we actually have a special guest today for our game of choice, and it is Bastion, and with us today is Jesse. How are you doing today?
I'm doing awesome. Special might be a bit of a stretch, but I'll take it.
Special to us, brand new person on the podcast. So
we had Frank Kopacki and now Jesse. So you're
yeah. I mean, moving up.
Yeah. Hey, at least I know where the bar is, right?
Listener of the show, correct. And you had submitted a request for us to cover this game. And yes, we brought you on to actually talk about it. What made you interested in this soundtrack specifically?
Oh, man. So this game, I totally did not catch it when it was coming out at release. I think it came out in 2011.
11.
Yeah, something like that.
Yeah. Right around 2011. Totally flew under my radar. Didn't have a clue that it was coming out. And then I think, probably 5 years later, maybe 6, it just kind of popped up in a Humble Bundle.
Mm-hmm.
And I was like, it was like an indie game bundle. And I don't know what made me choose it over the other stuff that was in the bundle, which were all pretty legit, Risk of Rain and, Don't Starve and stuff like that.
Yeah.
But for whatever reason, I did. And the absolute first thing that caught my attention was the music. And it gets right into it, from jump. It made a real big impression on me.
I can totally relate to that just because I've never played the game. I, too, bought it when it was on some sort of sale. I just haven't gotten to it. When listening to this soundtrack, I was like, all right, this is fantastic. The first track, immediately, I was like, all right, I can get on board already.
Just blew me away.
Yeah. Excellent stuff.
It's such a surprising mix, and it made me actually go and watch some of the long play because I hadn't played it either, and I knew that this is the same developer of Hades, and Hades was really well received.
Mm-hmm.
Part of the reason was because of the music and the story. So this looks like a kind of proto Hades, but more of a, with the music, it's that frontier, electronic frontier,
Wild West music. Almost.
Yeah, Wild West. And it's it definitely grabbed me. I think it's a game that maybe I will have to pick up and play.
Yeah. For sure.
This is moving it up my list.
Yeah,
just listening to the soundtrack, I'm like, all right, I'm gonna have to sit down with this game because I did love Hades, and the soundtrack is just pushing that original game up my to-do list. So, Jesse, I wanted, if you are willing, I would like you to do the intro to the game, just because you know more about it than any of us, kind of what it's about, and maybe how the soundtrack fits for you.
Yeah, absolutely. So Bastion is actually the first game that was produced by Supergiant. As John and you said, they've made a bunch of other games more recently, including Hades, Transistor, Pyre, and a couple of others. And there's a lot of really cool musical themes that sort of follow through the whole series. They've had a consistent composer for the entirety of the Supergiant games portfolio. Darren Korb, I believe is his name.
Yep.
And Bastion was actually the first game that he ever composed a soundtrack for, which is pretty impressive.
Insane.
That's impressive.
Bananas.
That is impressive.
Absolutely bananas. He had done some TV stuff, some movie stuff. You can certainly check out his IMDb and you'll see some of the other things that he's worked on. But basically, since he worked on Bastion, it's been pretty much video games straight through. And for the most part, it's been all the Supergiant stuff. So the premise of the game is fairly thin. You can tell that it's an older game. It's a first game for a studio. So the story isn't super deep. They really focused on making sure that the gameplay was really solid. And of course, the music, which is what brings us here today.
Right.
Pretty basic action style RPG, plays isometrically, just like so many others. It's not like a procedurally generated world or like a roguelike like you'd see in Hades. It's got a very definite kind of level structure. But the idea is basically you play a nameless hero. In this game, they just call him the Kid. He never gets a name. He never says a line, even though there's plenty of voiceovers throughout the rest of the game. Very kind of like Legends of Zelda.
Classic. Yeah. Classic silent protagonist.
Yep. There's only a couple other named characters in the game. One of them is the narrator. Sometimes they refer to him just as the old man, or Rux. We find out is his name later on. And then there's just a couple of other named characters that you meet throughout it. But essentially, the game is telling the story of these two warring nations, the city of Caelondia and the nation of I believe is what it's called. And you find out throughout the course of the game that, Caelondia and battled essentially to the death. Caelondia developed like a super weapon that backfired on them because it was sabotaged by some scientists from and it ended up causing essentially a cataclysm that blew the whole world up. So the game is played out on all these different sky islands that you can kind of fly between using like gateways. And the idea is that you're trying to assemble all of these energy crystals so that you can power the Bastion, which is the namesake of the game, which is essentially your home base. And then that's going to help, in theory, help you find a way to repair the nation of Caelondia and bring all of its residents back to life. Because as you find them throughout the game, they're basically just ashen statues. That's the long and the short of it without spoiling any story. As ever, it has a New Game Plus, which is pretty dope. Yeah, any good game has to have a New Game Plus. With more story.
New Game Plus is fantastic.
Yeah,
I love the intro of this game. When watching through the long play, the narrator is amazing. It just adds with the frontier electronica music kind of playing in the background. His like kind of spaghetti westernish voiceover of narrating what you're supposed to do. It's a great tutorial. Like, it doesn't tell you to press a button. It just kind of gives you these narrative hints to where you should go, what you should do, in such a very characterful way. It really adds to the atmosphere, even without much of a story to go along with it. It still gives you that sense of locale. It's great.
Yeah, very very Sam Elliott in just the way he presents himself. Not as deep, but very very entertaining to listen to. Very over the top, kind of really putting some sauce on there. But I do enjoy it.
I was going to say another cool thing about the Supergiant games is that a lot of the voice talent actually carries through game to game as well. So the narrator in this game is the same narrator that's in Transistor, which I believe was the next game that they put out, another phenomenal one. Some of the guest singers, in particular the one that sings a song that I'm probably going to talk about during the course of this episode, also sings in every one of their other games.
Oh, wow.
And then another one of the singers in this game sings in every one of their other games right up through Hades. So
that's awesome.
They have this kind of like musical core with Darren Korb, who voices some of the songs in this game, plus some of the others, and then the two other singers that perform in the other games in the portfolio as well. Pretty cool.
It's cool when they can have such a tight-knit group of people to work on all their games. So it kind of is building a relationship with each other, and therefore the product will come together a lot better over time,
It almost builds a relationship with the players too. I mean, you keep coming back to these other games in the series, and you hear these familiar voices and these familiar musical themes, maybe taken in some different directions. Like with Hades, it had a very Greek vibe for obvious reasons.
Right.
But there's still a lot of similarities in the way that they used multiple tracks laid over each other. You guys know more about the technicalities than I do, but suffice it to say, it's a great style, and I'm happy that they keep with it.
And I think it wouldn't be as successful as it has been if someone as talented as Darren wasn't at the helm, because even in the Bastion soundtrack, the style is so disparate between songs. There is a cohesion, but you can tell that he has a lot of chops when it comes to different styles, and going from game to game. Some games that we've reviewed that have a soundtrack that sounds the same throughout the entire thing. I think Mech Warrior was one of them, where we're like, it's good, but like a lot of the songs sound the same.
Yeah.
Whereas this, it's very unique. Every song is stands on its own, and it's pretty rare that you find someone that good to do your songwriting. So you might as well keep him around for a while.
Maybe, I guess. he is very much like I would say a Mick Gordon or a Nobuo Uematsu, where they have so much range that it just fills out the game in ways that you never saw it going. So I'm excited to get into this one. And I think as an honor, sir, you can choose the first song, Jesse, since you were the guest.
How about that? All right, so I'm going to go with what was probably vying for my number one slot, and that's the third song on the track, In Case of Trouble.
All right. So what grabbed you about this song?
So the thing that really grabs my attention with this one is that I feel like it's just a really great introduction to what some of the common themes of the game are going to be. It's got that Western twangy guitar. It's got, it kind of builds into this bigger, fuller, kind of
just kind of layering upon itself.
Tune. Yeah, it layers on itself. It just makes this powerful tune that you can tell is going to drive kind of the major through line of the story. And just, I don't know, it just kind of hits this nice balance between relaxing and powerful, I guess is the best way.
What I found pretty amazing on this song is the acoustic guitar it's very aggressive and determined, while the strings are just flitting around in the back. And it has this, like you said, Wild West theme, but to me it comes off like that. It's got a loner vibe. So it could be accompanying an anti-hero living his life with all the dangers therein. It's very subtle, I would say, but it could be taken either way. So it could be a good guy, it could be a bad guy, but it's just one of those songs that lays out this map of what you're going to be experiencing, I think. And that's what's cool. It opens with that really soft acoustic guitar, and then everything kind of layers on top of each other. And in the middle, I think the strings get a little more sinister. I think that's what gives me that sense that maybe it's an anti-hero or someone you want to root for, but he's kind of gruff. But yeah, I just think with that electronic beat, everything just coalesces into such a great pot of stew.
Yeah. I think that really does encompass that sense of, this is like a frontier game where you're exploring the ruins of this kind of post-apocalyptic world in a way that you run across things that are more sinister. I feel like the acoustic guitar and the frontier vibes are the main character, and the strings are the world around that are either good or bad. They're sinister, they're plotting, and they're things that you're exploring throughout the game.
It makes it feel like a journey, I guess is the best way that I can put it. This song really sets the stage for what's to come, and I think it does a great job of that.
Yeah, and I think this song sets the stage for the game itself. I think what sets the stage for the album is the second song, which is a proper story.
Yes,
kind of had a feeling one of you guys was going to go for that one.
I was absolutely going for that one.
Man, yeah, this is just a frontier electronica Eastern. Like, you're going to get all of these things in this album. This is kind of the amuse-bouche to the album. This is giving you a little sample taste of what you're going to get, and it does it in a cohesive way. It's a short track, a minute, but it's enough to kind of get you into the soundtrack.
Yeah, I can imagine this was used in a trailer of some sort. It's just showing you what the game is going to be. There's such a unique blend of synth beat with a sitar, and I would say almost a flamenco-esque acoustic guitar.
Yeah.
He's doing a lot of intricate picking. As it gets going, there's a real hint of the exotic, and there's a definite adventure to this track that's like, when I first heard this song, I was like, sign me the fuck up. This song got me going immediately.
Yeah.
This song, I could not mention this song. It's got such attitude.
God, they cram so much into a minute and 9 seconds.
Yeah.
It's kind of incredible. It really is.
Yeah, and I love one of the great things about this whole album is there is a pretty strong presence of that electronica or techno. That sometimes you would just use that for percussion, as a beat, but it really is it does shine through a lot where it's more than just a backing track. It's part of the songs themselves, along with that frontier aesthetic and some of the Eastern vibes that you get from some of the other tracks.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it's pretty wild. Like, reading some of the background about this whole album. Darren Korb, actually, I guess he described the theme of the album as, it sounds like word salad, but it's acoustic frontier trip hop.
Yeah.
And when you think about it, like, that's kind of exactly what it is.
Yep. That sounds right.
Yeah. And
I've got hip hop in here describing some of the beats.
Mm-hmm.
So that does make some sense to me.
Yeah.
And like, he recorded this whole album in his closet in his New York City apartment. Like, what?
Yeah. Insane.
It's insane.
I was reading like some of the reasons why there's a lot of acoustic on some of these songs is that's like what he had to record with.
Right.
Couldn't be too loud.
Crazy.
His neighbors would all complain.
Banging on the walls.
God. But see, that's when the great stuff is made, under tense conditions.
Under duress.
Under duress.
Duress, indeed.
Oh, man. There was another song I wanted to mention, and I think I'm just going to stay on the cowboy theme right now just because that's what we're talking about. But Slinger's song is just on the nose, spaghetti western, and this one just has a little bit more grit to it than maybe some of the other tracks on this. Simple acoustic guitar melody and howling electric accents in the back just really grabs me. I love those single note bends on the electric guitar in the background. They just, a little bit of reverb really adds atmosphere to the song, and it's, the steady beat of the song keeps the same pace, and when the guitars die out for a little bit or when they play around, that beat's still going. So it's just a rough and tumble song. It plods along, but it's exciting for me. This person means business.
It almost sounds like there's like some castanets in the background or something like that. And it's very reminiscent of like horse hooves just clopping down the middle of the road in some western town somewhere. Tumbleweeds blowing across the screen.
Yeah.
Wild,
you hear the
wild
spurs.
stuff.
Yeah.
Yep.
And I think this one's a little ambiguous too, where it could be a hero or villain song.
Yeah.
But I enjoy it a lot.
Yeah, it's so very much. Some of these songs are a mix, but this is just so in the Western frontier, genre.
Yeah, this one's a little more deliberate.
Yeah, but it's just a great, like walking into town.
Yeah, there he is. Everyone's fading into the shadows. Just there he is.
Have another one, Jesse. What else are you looking at?
Yeah, I do have another one. Yeah. So I'd say my next one is a big divergence from the musical themes that we've seen so far. And that's going to be probably my favorite song on the album, and one that actually made a really big impact on me the first time I heard it. And that's Build the Wall, Zia's theme.
Oh.
It's totally totally caught me off guard when I rolled up to that point in the story. And this is actually the reason that I ended up seeking out the album.
Yeah.
Just because it's one of those songs that it has a big... the story has a big impact on the lyrics and the way that the song is performed, especially because of the point in the game that you actually meet the character that's singing this song. But it's one of those that you can take from it whatever you will. I heard this song the first time when, I was having a tough time in my life. I was going through a lot of difficult times with, early relationships, and, it just... Some of those songs just kind of stick with you, and this is one that did.
Absolutely. And
it's the simplest song
best
on the album.
stuff.
Yeah, it is the best stuff. Yeah.
That city on a hill. Someday those tears are gonna spill. So build that wall and build it strong, 'cause we'll be there before too long.
When you can relate to a song or feel like it's speaking to your soul just because of maybe some of the things you're experiencing right now, or when you hear it, that it gives the song a lot of power. And I love that stuff because it means the song is influential. It is deep. It's able to touch us in ways that maybe we weren't expecting. And I think that's great for the composers, and it's great for the listeners because it gives them purpose. I know I've been in similar situations with certain songs, and you feel rejuvenated sometimes after you listen to this kind of stuff. And it gives you a little bit more meaning, and you don't necessarily know why. It's the mark of a great songwriting.
Yeah, I think this has to me similar vibes to another one that we covered in Spiritfarer, the what Will You Leave Behind.
Yeah,
that end title track just kills me, and it's the same thing. Like, it hit me at a certain time that really meant something, and it's great when a song can really speak to you. Even on the first listen, you get it. And it's not really you're getting the song; you're getting why it kind of is affecting you the way it is. And it's a simple track, but it's very effective.
Yeah, I mean, it literally couldn't be a simpler song. It's a couple of basic chords on a guitar and a beautiful singing voice, and that's it.
And sometimes the simplest songs have the most to say, which is strange, but yeah, this song is beautiful. She's got such a gorgeous voice, and that light acoustic guitar, just perfect.
Yeah,
one of my favorite things.
She's been in every game since.
Right.
Yeah.
Absolutely. She's definitely got a voice. But yeah, what I was going to say is just one of my favorite things about simple songs like that, especially acoustic, is when you can hear the chord changes, the sliding on the strings. It just adds a nice flair to it, and it's not necessarily deliberate.
Yeah, there's a lot of soul into it. Where you're feeling what the song is going to do, and
absolutely.
Well, a complete departure from that.
Yeah,
one of my favorite songs on the track has to be Terminal March.
Oh.
It's out of left field, but man, I'm a sucker for like a Middle Eastern sound. I love like sitars and odes. I think this is an ode. I'm not 100% sure because I'm not as cultured, but I was trying to read some interviews on it, and he didn't mention the actual instrument that he was using, and I don't think he actually played it. It was a
like synth.
Yeah, synth, but it just plays this lovely like Middle Eastern melody over this intense techno track. It like ebbs back and forth between old and new over the course of the song. I kind of imagine you're in a desert city being chased by robots in this track. I don't know if that's accurate, but it's just a great, like, quick track that really got me.
Yeah, especially the opening when you said at first you had said Eastern, and I wanted to say that the first few measures of this song, I'm thinking this reminds me of Tenchu a little bit, Wrath of Heaven. There's some of that influence there, but then it becomes a lot more Middle Eastern as time goes on. But it does have a fantastic groove to it, and it just by using different instruments, just a couple, it's like a completely different album. But that electronic beat that he's got, that hip hop kind of synthesizer beat, it just kind of keeps this through line throughout the album. Yeah. And I think it's very effective.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah, without a doubt. I mean, gosh, this song, it as I recall, and my memory is a little hazy about what parts of the game are actually accompanying each individual song, but I think you're spot on when you say that this is like a chase. As I recall, this is something that plays when you're actually trying to make an escape from one of the islands that's actually like coming apart, and you're being chased by some of the I can't remember what they call the baddies in this game, but there's a very specific name for them. You're being chased by a bunch of them while you try to escape this kind of collapsing island. It's
that makes complete sense. This would keep you on your toes.
Yeah, this is a chase.
Keep your palms sweaty so you make mistakes. That's awesome. The last one I wanted to mention, I think, Mancer's Dilemma. I thought this was very different to me. It was a little bit more sorrowful. It hit me different than the rest of the album. It's a lot more elegant, and I want to say it's got a sinister edge to it, but it is very soft and elegant with that heart. It's got a curious nature to it, and pile on top of that some very stress-inducing strings. You really have a hurried song that strikes me as, okay, you're in the middle of a bad situation and you need to get out of it. It's not so much like a chase like the last song, but this one strikes me as something bad is happening.
Like I don't know. A Fey forest, but all the Fey are pretty mischievous.
Yeah, they're.
So this is, I can fill you in on exactly what's going on when this song plays.
All right.
So one of the characters, Zia, from, Zia's theme, her father was working with the Ceylondian scientists, which they called Mancers, hence the Mancer's Dilemma, to develop that super weapon that they were going to use to destroy the other city. This is the part where you find out that was happening and that the weapon ended up getting sabotaged so that it backfired and destroyed the whole world.
So something big was happening. Okay.
Very bad.
Something very bad was happening.
This was the big reveal in the game.
Wow.
Yeah. Oh, cool.
Nice. Well, then I will say this. He got that through crystal clear for me. I think that was very effective, and this song stood out to me just because it is very different than a lot of stuff on this album. And I think that's probably apropos because something huge was happening during it. He wanted it to stand out.
Yeah, and it's from something that happened in the past as in another age kind of thing. So it doesn't really sit with the rest of the track. Or rest of the soundtrack. It's kind of its own, its own era of music, as it were.
Absolutely.
All right, I got one more honorable mention if you think we got time for it.
Oh, absolutely. There's no time limit, so feel free.
Awesome. The last one that I'm going to call out is actually the last song on the album, The Pantheon. It's the only song on the album that's actually sung by the narrator, and I think it just closes out the album beautifully. He's got this phenomenal, just raspy, rough voice that, sounds like an old man that's been on the trail and is done telling his story. It's just encapsulates the whole soundtrack beautifully, I think.
When you play with a loaded gun, they ain't gonna catch you when you fall. You'll be pleased
Yeah, it does feel like the storybook is closing during this.
Yeah.
It's just, he's got that voice that really says, okay, let's wrap this up. This is my tale, and now you can go on and move on to your future. I think it's really powerful.
You can really tell that Darren is a storyteller when it comes to, or understands the art of storytelling when it comes to the album structure, because you have songs like A Proper Story and In Case of Trouble, which introduce you to the album, introduce you to the world. You have all these disparate songs in the middle that are evoking emotions, and then you kind of have this song at the end that closes it all together. It's just a great album structure, something that you don't really think about when it comes to like video game music. But I imagine a game like this, where it's fairly linear, that extra thought that's put into how your songs are laid out goes a long way.
Yeah, one of the really kind of interesting things about this is, given all the work that they put into the soundtrack, they never intended on releasing the soundtrack at all.
Crazy.
It was actually popular demand that finally got them to do it after a couple of months after the game came out.
Good.
And good on them, man. Whew.
And I always say that composers seem to get the shaft when people are playing games, and thankfully lately it's been getting better. And composers are getting some love, and that is what this is all about. And I'm so happy that they just released this album, and actually I got a re-release, but I posted it on Facebook last week that they were doing that pre-order, and I got my copy yesterday. So I was like, yeah.
Nice.
Yeah, actually, the song that we just talked about, the Pantheon, was not a part of the actual game. They only released it as part of this album.
That's
the
awesome.
last song and the first song, the bookends to the album, were not in the game. The first one is basically just the narrator talking and just getting you into the story. Pretty wild.
That's fantastic.
Cool. Mm-hmm.
Wow, what a soundtrack.
Yeah.
So what a soundtrack.
Yeah. As I just stated, they did re-release this album, and you can buy it on iam8bit.com right now. It's still in stock. So go grab yourself a copy.
Get your wallet and get out there.
Get your wallet. You can find Darren Korb at Darren Korb, Korb, on X, or Twitter, if you will. Let's show this guy some love. He did such a fantastic job. I can't wait to sit down with Hades now. I haven't listened to it in full, but yeah, I own the game, so I'm familiar with it. But man, congratulations, Darren Korb, on our first album. This is fantastic.
First album's insane.
Yeah. And one quick other shout out to good on Darren Korb and Supergiant, because one of the things they also did for the fans, in addition to releasing the soundtrack by popular demand, is they actually released the sheet music for both guitar and piano for free on their website. They're not hosted on the website anymore. Unfortunately, that section of the store has come down, but they're readily available all over the internet.
Anywhere,
you can just do a quick Google search for, there it is.
That's fucking awesome. Man, what a group of storytellers they are. Not just from the game writers, but the composer as well. It really makes this such a unique and beautiful project. I'm so excited to sit down with this game, and actually I'm excited to listen to the album again. It's just,
and I would definitely encourage you and anybody else to, give this game a shot. It's a quick one. You can get it on sale all over the place, and it's a great playthrough. Relatively cheap, yeah. And then really, I know you're going to like it, so think long and hard about maybe trying out some of the other Supergiant titles, because the soundtracks are all equally amazing, especially Transistor. Oh my God. That game is literally about a musical artist, somebody that is trying to find their way in this like futuristic kind of cyberspacey world, and man, oh man, is that not only a good game but a great soundtrack too.
Awesome.
We'll probably have to have you on for that one too.
Anytime,
you can be our Supergiant guest.
He's a super giant.
Our Darren Korb aficionado.
As long as you bring me back in for Chrono Trigger, you can do whatever you want with me.
Hey, Chrono Trigger.
Yeah, there you go.
I got Lavos behind me.
I saw
but
that.
Yeah. Oh, man, we'll get to Chrono Trigger sometime soon. It almost seems obvious. So I've been wishy-washy about doing it because everyone knows that soundtrack, and not that it's bad by any means, but it's just like, everyone's expecting it, so should I wait? I don't know.
You got to bear with
Sneak up on it.
So I got to ask Mike, how would you rate this album? I think we've all pretty much made it obvious.
No, I'm going to give it a 1 out of 10 tumbleweeds. No, this is absolutely a 10 out of 10. It grabbed me from the first 2 tracks, even the intro with the dialogue. I was like, okay. And then when a proper story kicked in, I was like, I actually wrote it in my notes. I fucking love this song. I'm like, so I was all in immediately. So I'm going to give it 10 out of 10 banjos.
Yeah, I have to agree. It's 10 out of 10 robot gunslingers for me. It's definitely an album that you could easily just pop on and listen to. You know, there's a lot of soundtracks that you can't really like. They're ambient or they kind of go with the video game, but this one is just you can just listen to all day long.
Yeah,
and it's amazing.
Yeah. I'm going to follow suit. I'm going to give this one 10 out of 10 kale hammers. That is the first weapon that the kid gets in the game.
Nice. Excellent.
There you go.
Well, Jesse, it has been a pleasure having you on the show.
Yeah, thanks for having me. It's been fantastic.
Absolutely. I appreciate you reaching out, and we loved having you, I'm sure. John?
Where can we find you, Jesse?
Yeah, where can we find you, Jesse?
Shout out.
Yeah, for sure. So I do have a podcast. It's not one that's of interest to anybody but within a very small niche of tabletop gamers. I have one called Boring Conversation, a Malifaux podcast. Malifaux is
Malifaux Bastion soundtrack. You could play the Bastion soundtrack during a Malifaux game. It would make sense.
You probably could, yeah. It definitely has sort of a Western theme to it.
Yeah.
But yeah, that's a tabletop miniatures game. It's the only one I play now, and I'm very involved in the community. So I've been playing around with starting up a beer and homebrewing podcast as well, but you can only have so many projects at a time. So there you go.
That is true.
Who knows? I might be making a guest appearance on the Nastygram soon.
What?
Oh, really?
What?
Nice.
I don't know that.
You heard it here first. Spoilers.
That's awesome, man. Well, can't wait to hear you on that, and I'm definitely going to check out your podcast because I did not know about it. So, yeah, I appreciate.
You'll get about 5 minutes in and be like, I don't know what the hell he's talking about,
dude. I'm all down for a good conversational podcast. So we'll see.
You can tell me if I picked a good intro outro song though. That's important.
Okay,
there you go. Yeah, very important.
All right. Well, thank you everyone for listening. Once again, I'm your host, Mike, with John and Jesse. And if you guys would like to say goodbye, please do so.
I'll go with the line from my podcast. Oh, you do your thing, John. Do yours.
Well, I say I'll see you in the verse. No, hold on.
You probably had this prepared before we even started.
Just say Bastion themed outro. That's what John.
Yeah, I'm trying to think of
themed
Bastion.
outro. There you go. I'll do the one from my pod. Keep your conversations boring and stay weird, folks.
There you go. Just use Jesse's.
Okay.
Ditto.
And cut.
Oh, jeez.
It's gold.
I had the brainiest of parts.
Thank you for listening to today's episode. If you liked what you heard, please rate and subscribe on your podcast app of choice. Also, check out Magus Media's other podcast, This Is Not Happening, Another X-Files podcast for complete episode breakdowns, insightful banter, and inane babble. Thank you, and we'll see you next time.
Well, hello there, Internet people. My name is Josh, and I am one of the hosts of the Nastygram RPG podcast. We're an actual play podcast, and we're good. And why are we good? Well, let's let the other host tell you. Dan.
Hey, everyone. If you like authentic, real-world sound effects, our lasers go pew-pew.
I love it. Matt.
Skip me. Coming back to Matt.
Ryan.
Okay, so after 2 decades of trying, we finally mastered the 3.5 grapple.
We're not doing that.
Never mind.
Try again.
Scratch that.
Check it out. Look it up.
Cut. John.
If you're looking for a RPG podcast that plays a whole hell of a lot of games, we like to spice the life.
Spice it up.
Spice it up.
Matt, you ready?
Yeah, I think I'm ready. If you enjoy bad accents and overacting, you'll enjoy our podcast.
Yes.
Nice.
Yes.
And Jake, bring us home.
I like to just say we didn't just throw a phone on the table and hit record. Like, Josh does a damn good job with the editing. And
Facts.
if you care about that, you will not be disappointed.
That's right. We spend a bunch of money that we don't make on the podcast.
100%.
So check us out, Nastagram RPG Podcast. You can find us on all the goddamn podcast apps, and we'll see you there.
That's nasty.